years.
Exactly.
So you remember, I talked to you, Tammy talked to you, Dave talked to you. We're all from Colorado. And so the last time we talked to you was a different situation, right? Our investigation was open and your case was open. That's completely different now. So your case is completely closed. Nothing about what we're going to talk about today has anything to do with an open investigation. So we're not here to get more charges on you or get any statements from you that are going to jam you up anymore, right? That's all done. So all of our cases are closed and the court case is closed. So there's nothing that we're going to talk about today that's going to get you in any type of trouble at all. And so I wanted to make sure you knew that's not why we're here. Okay. But why we are here. So the three of us work from three different agencies, right? Quite a bit different. CBI, FBI, and Frederick. Different goals. And the things that happened with you kind of all brought us together. And as the months have passed on since everything happened, we just keep in touch with each other and we keep talking to each other. And we've all separately kind of said, did Chris seem unique to you? And me and Tammy have talked about this, Dave and I have talked about this. Did Chris's situation seem different to you? And we keep having that conversation. We can't quite put our finger on it, right? We think that your life leading up to all of the things that happened were very interesting to us. And for me personally, I don't know if you remember, but one of the last things you told me was, hey, Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you. And that stuck with me for the last couple months. It's been ringing in my head, right? I've never, ever worked a case like this where someone told me that ever. And so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard. So in talking with Tammy and talking with Dave, I said, what did you feel like when it all went down? When we were there, we were talking to you guys, and we all kind of, in our own different way and in our own different wording, said it all happened a bit too quick for us, right? So when we saw you last, we were talking about your family, about your parents, about everyone. And then the next thing you know, for me and Tammy and for Dave, all of a sudden some patrol officers came in and arrested you. And that was far quicker than we had hoped it would happen. And you understand why that happened, and we understand why that happened. But it left us with 1,000 questions that we didn't get to ask. And then even more importantly, I think it probably left you with 1,000 things that you didn't get to talk about with us. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but, and so that's why we're here today. We wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about everything, I think there's a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about. And so, that's why we're here. And it sticks with me that to this day, there's not one person that's told me, I saw it coming. I knew Chris was like that. I knew it. Not one person. So it's interesting to me, right? Not one. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Some of the people that we work with, your family, Shanann's family, have said, if you get to talk to Chris, would you tell him some things for him? So we have that to talk about today, and it's good. I think you'll like it. I think it will give you some closure. And so really that's why we're here. Are you available to talk to us?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So off the bat, if you have any questions, just tell us.
Okay.
If there's something that you don't want to talk about, that's okay. Wouldn't that press you a little bit? Okay, you might say, well, do you mind if we just maybe then ask one question? If something makes you uncomfortable, just tell us. If we need to take any bathroom breaks, we can take bathroom breaks. For anything like that. And we'll take bathroom breaks and water breaks ourselves too. So then, is there anything about your schedule today that makes it that you can't talk to us?
No, there was like a pass for this and the AM and the PM.
Okay.
They reserved the room the whole day,
Oh,
just
okay.
in case.
That's just what they do.
Okay, I didn't know if that was like 2 separate things or something.
I think you have to go back for lunch to get counted for or something.
Oh.
Accounted for.
Yeah, I think
11:30.
Yeah, lunch is like 11, what they're counting like 12:15. So
So in general, how is it here?
it's a lot different in Colorado.
Is it?
Good or bad?
that's better, I think, because I mean, it's here. I'm actually around other people. I mean, in Colorado, it was just like I was segregated, and there was like hanging on the walls all night, screaming, and just telling me
From other people?
Oh,
Really?
they're just telling me like how I should kill myself and like what they're gonna do to me, and just like all that kind of stuff. So
Oh.
it was today. This is a lot different because I mean, people here don't seem to. It's not like they don't care, but it's just kind of like they don't like judge you as soon as you walk in. In Colorado, it was like they knew why I was there, and they just that was it. They were just like they had 1 second all of me. It would have been
Really?
they were, yeah.
Gee, man. Must be out then.
out of like Floyd County Jail. I don't know what it was like in DOC there, but like, they had to lock down the jail for me to walk down the hallway.
Wow. They will? So they had to make sure you were completely separated from anyone else. Gee.
Wow.
Like I didn't see anybody else there. Like I was still next to somebody, but like I never saw them.
You just hear them.
How did they know who you were?
I don't know. I just they make phone calls in there too.
Oh, okay.
And they got the newspaper in there before I got in there. So
Yeah. Have you been able to talk with family?
oh yeah, definitely. Like we get from 6 p.m. to 7:30. That's our my unit's not out, so we get to use the phone at that point in time.
Really? And do they charge you for it, or?
Oh, it's just like it's like Secures or something.
Okay. And how do you make money to pay for that?
They put money on the phone.
Oh.
So if I call, like, if I was like to dial somebody's number, they have to have like a phone account set up.
Oh.
It's so restricted.
And then so who you call pays for it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Have you been able to talk to like family members and parents and all
Yeah,
that?
my mom and dad, my sister.
Okay. Good. Is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Good.
Yeah, they don't hear from me. They're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" What's going on?
Oh, good. And how was it with them?
And so far, so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard to hear your parents at sentencing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were gonna say.
So, yeah. And so, yeah. I really appreciated what they said. I don't know about you.
I definitely was. I didn't expect them to be there. So I knew they were there on the 6th. I'm sick, but I didn't expect them to fly back, and I wanted to fly back for that.
Yeah. And then what we all said.
Definitely.
Good. Well, so we have 1,000 questions. I'm sure you do too. Do you care if we start, or do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead. We'll start.
All right. So one of the things that we're battling with is, and I won't make any assumptions today. So are you aware that this was a national story?
After a little while, I didn't talk to my parents while I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Because, I mean, my attorney team told me, all right, no phone calls, no letters, no nothing. So, like, I made one phone call when I was in the segregation area there, but my dad thought it was like somebody like a news.
Oh.
I turned to call.
So he didn't answer.
Yeah, so he didn't answer, but other than that,
Okay.
I didn't talk to anybody, but from what some of the deputies were saying that, for my attorney team coming in and said, this is like, they've got people from Australia, England, and all kinds of people trying to figure out what's going on. So,
Did they send you any other letters, like fan mail or anything? Well,
I got letters, but I couldn't keep them with me. So like I could read them like on my hour out, but it's like, I got a bunch of just letters that had no return address and stuff that was just, not very good letters.
yeah.
So
Okay. They came from a weird perspective, didn't they? From what we had heard.
definitely, there was one person, I guess, from Broomfield that was like writing like 4 times a week trying to come visit me, and then there was just a lot of people like writing that was like lead through markers saying, like you're a monster, or all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, we're going to talk about some hard issues today, but I don't intend to take you to a dark place today.
Okay.
I hope that when we're done, you'll feel better. I hope it'll be therapeutic. We're going to talk about, obviously, what happened with your family. So that's going to be hard to talk about. I appreciate anything you can tell me about it. If you need to take time out, if you need to get a tissue, that's fine, right? I think it'll be very good for you. It'll be good for us. And so one of the reasons I asked about that national attention is we were aware that you were getting a lot of letters, a lot of interest, and then us personally as law enforcement, we got so many people who claim to have known you, claim to have been with you, dated you, slept.
What drives a father to wipe out his entire family? 7 years ago, Chris Watts committed an unspeakable crime, murdering his wife and 2 young daughters in cold blood, all to protect a secret. But was this a moment of madness, or the culmination of a darker, more sinister pattern? In this gripping investigation, we dig beneath the surface of a man who seemed to have it all, only to uncover a twisted truth that challenges everything we thought we knew about the Watts family tragedy. Was Chris Watts a one-time killer, or does his story reveal a chilling portrait of a serial killer waiting to emerge? In the quiet suburban town of Frederick, Colorado, the Watts family appeared to have it all. Their home, a spacious 5-bedroom house nestled in a peaceful neighborhood, was the embodiment of the American dream. To the outside world, Chris and Shannon Watts, along with their 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste, represented a perfect family. A unit defined by love, happiness, and prosperity. Shannon, a dedicated wife and mother, made sure to highlight this image on social media. Her posts, filled with cheerful snapshots of family vacations, playful moments with her children, and romantic gestures from Chris, created an illusion of a flawless life. She often shared the milestones of her family's success, portraying a life that others admired and aspired to emulate. Her involvement in a multi-level marketing business, where she promoted health and wellness products, gave her an additional platform to project an image of accomplishment and financial freedom. Chris, her husband, was the stoic provider. Employed at Anadarko Petroleum, his professional success allowed the family to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle. His social media presence was less prolific than Shannon's, but when he did post, it painted a picture of a man who loved his family deeply and took pride in his role as a father and husband. To the public, they were an exemplary couple, with a thriving marriage and 2 young daughters who radiated happiness and joy. But beneath the surface of the Watts family's seemingly perfect exterior, cracks were beginning to form, though they were not immediately visible to those on the outside. There were whispers, moments of tension, and uneasy undercurrents that few were privy to. Chris had always been seen as a quiet, reserved man, but there were growing signs that something was amiss. His relationship with Shannon, once filled with excitement and mutual admiration, had begun to show subtle signs of strain. The stress of maintaining a family on a tight budget had begun to take its toll on both Chris and Shannon. Financial pressure mounted as they faced the realities of living beyond their means. But it wasn't just the financial stress that weighed heavily on Chris. There were deeper, more personal issues that he kept hidden from the world. In recent months, his marriage had begun to feel more like a commitment he was struggling to fulfill rather than a bond he wanted to nurture. His emotional distance grew, and Shannon, ever the optimist, tried to keep the peace, even as she sensed the growing tension. On the surface, their lives seemed flawless. But behind the curtains of their social media posts and family portraits, cracks had already begun to show. Chris had recently met someone who would play a significant role in the unraveling of everything he and Shannon had worked for. But no one could have predicted the extent to which this affair would drive Chris to make decisions that would forever change the lives of everyone involved. For now, life in the Watts household continued as it always had. The family appeared content, the smiles and photos just as bright as before, and the online posts continued to paint a picture of a happy family. But the cracks were there, hidden beneath the surface, and they were about to shatter the illusion once and for all. As we move further into the story, we begin to unravel the hidden tensions that were simmering below the surface, and the secrets that Chris was trying so desperately to keep hidden. For now, though, we leave behind the perfect family facade that the Watts family so carefully curated, and step into a world where everything is about to change, forever. It was an ordinary morning in Frederick, Colorado, on August 13, 2018. Shannon Watts had just returned home from a business trip to Arizona, excited to reunite with her family. After a long flight, she returned to her home, eager to spend time with her 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste, and reconnect with her husband, Chris. But by the afternoon, something was wrong. Shannon, along with her children, was nowhere to be found. The house was eerily silent. A normal day had taken a tragic turn. Shannon's close friend, Nicole Atkinson, grew increasingly concerned when she was unable to reach Shannon by phone. Nicole had planned to pick Shannon up for a doctor's appointment that morning, but when she arrived at the Watts home and found no one there, panic began to set in. She quickly contacted the authorities and filed a missing persons report, raising the alarm that something was amiss. Within hours, the local community had mobilized. Volunteers gathered to search for Shannon and her daughters, and the news spread quickly through Frederick. Chris, appearing distraught, stood before the cameras, pleading for his family's safe return. His voice shook as he made an emotional plea for anyone with information to come forward. He expressed his hope that they were safe and promised to do whatever it took to find them. But the public's reaction was mixed. Some were touched by his desperation, while others felt something wasn't quite right. As the search intensified, law enforcement agencies, including local police and the FBI, began to investigate. They combed through the Watts home, looking for any clues that might explain the sudden disappearance. As the hours passed, the investigation began to reveal disturbing inconsistencies in Chris's statements. He claimed that he had no idea where Shannon and the girls were, yet his behavior and his refusal to fully cooperate with authorities raised suspicions. In an effort to gather more information, the police began interviewing those closest to Chris and Shannon. Friends, family, and co-workers shared what little they knew. It was quickly revealed that Shannon had been excited about a fresh start. She had made plans for a future with Chris, something her friends believed would bring their family closer together. But with every new detail that emerged, Chris's story grew more difficult to believe. The authorities began to piece together a troubling picture. Something about Chris's actions, or lack thereof, did not add up. As the investigation into Shannon and her daughter's disappearance continued, the truth began to unravel, piece by piece. Chris Watts's calm demeanor became a focal point of suspicion. With each passing day, law enforcement officials began to see cracks in his story. His refusal to cooperate fully and his contradictory statements raised alarm bells. The mounting pressure led to a crucial step. Chris was asked to take a polygraph test. The results were damning. Chris failed the polygraph test, a key turning point in the investigation. The failure cast a shadow over his credibility and raised serious doubts about his innocence. But what followed was even more shocking. Confronted with the results of the polygraph and mounting evidence that suggested he was lying, Chris's defense collapsed. In a moment of truth, he finally admitted to the murders of his wife and children. But his confession was far from straightforward. Chris's initial claim was that Shannon, in a fit of rage, had killed the children. He claimed that in a panic and out of fear, he retaliated, taking their lives as well. But the authorities didn't buy his story. As detectives dug deeper, they found inconsistencies with Chris's version of events. Under pressure, he finally confessed to the full extent of his crime. He had planned and executed the murders. The chilling truth began to emerge as Chris described the horrifying details of what had transpired. In the days leading up to the murders, Chris had grown increasingly distant from his family. He had been having an affair with a woman named Nicole Kessinger, and it seemed that his desire to leave his wife and children had overwhelmed him. On the night of August 13th, after a heated argument with Shannon, he made the fateful decision to take the lives of his wife and daughters. Chris described the methodical way he disposed of their bodies, revealing how he took the lifeless bodies of his wife and children and transported them to a remote oil field where he worked. There, he concealed the remains, leaving behind only the faintest trace of the horrific crime he had committed. The authorities soon tracked Chris's movements to the oil field. The search team uncovered the bodies, hidden beneath layers of dirt and sand. Shannon's body was discovered first, followed by the bodies of Bella and Celeste. The crime scene was nothing short of gruesome, but it was clear, Chris had deliberately and callously carried out the act to cover up his secret life. The magnitude of the crime was staggering. Chris had not only destroyed his family, but he had also woven a web of lies to hide the truth. His actions were not born of a sudden burst of rage, but rather the calculated move of a man desperate to escape the life he had built. What drove him to this point remains a mystery, but one thing was certain: Chris Watts's confession exposed the cold reality behind the perfect family facade. For the Watts family, outward appearances told a different story than the one unfolding behind closed doors.
Bye, Frisa. Bye, Frisa.
Hey, baby! Yes, your popcorn? Do you want a brother or a sister? You want a little sister?
Yeah.
You want to be a big sister?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Go, Cece. Go, Bella. Careful, Cece. You're going to get dizzy. You're going to get dizzy, Cece. You're going to get dizzy.
We don't ring around a rosy. We don't ring around a rosy. Ring around a rosy. Lots of rosy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Blow on it, Cece. No, don't let her touch the plate. No, 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 no. Blow on it, Cece. Okay, look. Blow. Cece, blow. Say hi, Cece. Hi. Look at this monster. This is what I deal with. Like, she's a monster. Don't you jump off the couch. Oh. I'm sitting right here, Mama. She's a monster. Like, she doesn't stop. Like, seriously, this kid hasn't napped today. No, don't stay on my legs, baby. My life. You want more cereal?
Yeah, I like that.
I'll wipe it.
That's boo-boo.
It's a boo-boo. Cece, are you hungry? Celeste. Hey, are you hungry?
Yeah.
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 Cereal.
I like that.
We'll wipe it.
Well, darling.
So, I feel really blessed this summer. I'm going to San Diego with Chris. We're going June 22nd through the 26th. No, the 26th we come home at 1:30 in the morning. And then the 26th, that afternoon at 5:30 at night, Bella, Cece, and I and my dad are flying back to North Carolina for 6 weeks. 6 weeks we're going to be in North Carolina, Cece, right? And we're going to go spend time with our families and friends and everything else. And then we're going to come back August 7th, and then I fly to Scottsdale, Arizona on the 11th for a mini little retreat with my team, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. What are you doing? This child does not sit still ever. Look at this. Bella, say hi. Bella, say hi. And I really love the fact that careful, Cece, there's a table there. Child. Yeah, day in the life with Cece. And just feel blessed that we can do that. We can travel the world. One day Chris can travel that long with us. You wonder why I need Thrive. That kid right there. 7:15 in the morning. Cece. Thrive is a must.
High fives?
Come say hi, Nana, Papa. Mimi, Papa. Cece?
Yucky? Good job.
Want to chase me?
You want Daddy to do push-ups again?
Want to chase me?
Chase or push-ups?
Chase me.
Okay.
Okay. Say goodbye to Nana.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye to
So I can go
everybody.
chase you.
Bye.
You're so sweet. Cece, blow kisses. You're adorable. What are you doing, Cece? Are you stuck? Do you like the snow? Let me see. Is that snow? Is it cold? It's snow. Are you putting on your toes? Oh no. On the floor. Do you want to go play in the snow?
I'm cold.
It is cold, baby. Shut the door.
I'm not that cold.
It is cold.
I'm cold.
I know, baby. It's cold. So rub it on the door. Oh, you're putting on your toes? It's cold.
More.
You want more?
Yes. I'm cold.
I know it's cold.
The affair was more than just an emotional escape for Chris, it was the catalyst for the devastating decision he would make. The more time he spent with Nickel, the more he became convinced that his family life, as imperfect as it was, could not hold him back from what he wanted. In his mind, his only way out of the turmoil was to sever the ties to his old life, completely. As Chris became increasingly fixated on his relationship with Nickel, he saw no other way to achieve the life he desired than to eliminate the one standing in his way, Shannon. The children, too, became an obstacle to his freedom. Psychologists and experts in criminology have since analyzed Chris's behavior, attempting to understand what pushed him to commit such a horrific act. From the outside, Chris appeared to be a family man, quiet, reserved, and dependable. But beneath the surface, there were signs of emotional detachment, manipulation, and a deep sense of entitlement. Experts suggest that Chris exhibited narcissistic traits, with a profound disregard for the well-being of others in favor of pursuing his own desires. His inability to empathize with Shannon and the children, coupled with his overwhelming need for control and his desire to avoid the consequences of his actions, created the perfect storm for tragedy. At the core of his psychological profile, experts believe, was Chris's desire to escape. He was not just running from the responsibility of family life, he was running from the constraints of his own identity. The man he had been for years, the husband and father, no longer fit the narrative he had imagined for himself. He had started to view his family not as people to love and protect, but as obstacles standing in the way of the life he longed for. The affair with Nicole Kessinger gave him an opportunity to imagine a different life. A life that was no longer burdened by the financial struggles, the expectations, or the emotional weight of his marriage. In Chris's mind, killing his family was the ultimate way to break free and start anew. This desire for a fresh start wasn't just a momentary lapse in judgment. It was the culmination of months, even years, of emotional detachment, frustration, and mounting pressure. Chris's actions were not the result of an isolated incident or a momentary burst of anger. Instead, they were a calculated, horrific decision born out of his belief that he could escape the life he had built. He didn't see his family as a source of love and security, but as a trap, one that he had to destroy in order to seize the freedom he so desperately desired. The morning after Chris Watts's confession, the reality of what had happened began to settle in, and the weight of the tragedy cast a shadow over the entire community. Frederick, Colorado, once a quiet town where families felt safe, was now at the center of a story that would captivate the nation. The news of the brutal murders of Shanann and her daughters, Bella and Celeste, spread like wildfire. People couldn't grasp how a man who had seemed so ordinary, so likable, could commit such an unfathomable act. The Watts family had been the very image of suburban perfection. Now, the town was left in shock, struggling to understand how everything had gone so terribly wrong. Shanann's friends and neighbors were left reeling, unable to comprehend how someone they had known for years could have been capable of such violence. Her friends remembered her as a lively, warm woman who had always put her family first, even as she struggled with the pressures of managing a household and running a business. The thought that someone capable of nurturing such a life could be torn apart by betrayal and violence was impossible to reconcile. The disbelief that followed was not just about the loss, but about the nature of the crime itself. How had this family, seemingly filled with love and hope, ended up at the center of such devastation? The shock was even more intense for Shanann's family. Her parents, Sandy and Frank Razusek, were left devastated by the loss of their daughter and granddaughters. Their grief was compounded by the betrayal. They had trusted Chris. He had been a part of their lives for years, and to learn that he had taken everything from them in such a brutal fashion was almost too much to bear. Their sense of loss was not just of family members, but of trust, of the life they had imagined together, now shattered beyond repair. Chris's own family, though not as public as Shanann's, also struggled with the news. His mother, Cindy Watts, and his father, Ronnie Watts, expressed shock and disbelief, though there were some signs of confusion in their statements. Some reports indicated that Chris's family had trouble understanding the full extent of his actions, as they had never seen any warning signs in his behavior. For them, the event felt like a tragic mistake, a misunderstanding that they couldn't fully grasp. Their reactions raised questions about how well anyone truly knew Chris, even those who were closest to him. Had he hidden his darker impulses for years, or was this crime a sudden and inexplicable outburst? The public's reaction was filled with a mixture of anger, disbelief, and curiosity. People questioned how Chris could have concealed his emotions for so long, how he could have appeared so normal while harboring such a dark secret. His confession didn't bring the clarity everyone hoped for, it only added more layers of confusion. Many people speculated about the reasons behind the murders. Was it the affair? Was it the financial stress? Was it something deeper, a pattern of behavior that had been developing for years? People tried to piece together the events, but the full story remained elusive, even as the investigation continued to unfold.
Details in interrogations. Which statements should investigators note as unreliable and possibly deceptive? What do speech patterns and word choice reveal about suspects? welcome or welcome back to the channel.
Can we talk about something that's kind of hard to talk about? So when I work investigations like this, I have to keep an open mind on everything. Okay. And part of keeping an open mind is listening to you talk about your wife and your marriage. And the day she goes missing is the day that you guys have marital discord. Okay. So you can understand what I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. Like, I know, like, I've talked to a few of my friends, like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, I know. It's like, if people knew that we were having marital issues, they're gonna look at me, especially with the way everything looks. And it honestly just makes me sick to my stomach because this is something that I would never do. Ever. Makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. It honestly just makes me sick to my stomach.
Appeals to honesty, like to be honest and honestly, often enter a suspect's language when he's lying, hasn't been honest up until a certain point, or is withholding information. In conversations, we expect each other to be honest, so strictly speaking, there's no reason to say we're being honest. So the fact that Watts puts extra emphasis on something that should be obvious, especially in an interrogation, should be noted, not because it's automatically deceptive, but because it could point to the opposite, that Watts isn't sick to his stomach as he dramatizes it.
I've talked to a few of my friends, like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, I know.
This is another characteristic of Watts' speech pattern, and the speech patterns of other deceptive people. They mimic the concerns of the other speaker, and they mimic the emotions they know they're supposed to be feeling and expressing. Here, Watts mimics Coda's concerns, claiming that he's talked to a few of his friends who've said the same. The verb tense shift should be considered though. Watts starts by saying,
I've talked to,
but then shifts to present tense.
I'm like, I know. I'm like,
no matter if these interactions took place or not, Watts uses this narrative to act like he's stoic about being a suspect, as if it's unsurprising. I say act like because later it's obvious that he isn't calm. By referring to his friends, Watts indirectly denies Coda's implicit question, did you hurt your family? Watts says this is something he'd never do, which isn't the same as saying he didn't do it. A person might never want to hurt anybody, generically, but that doesn't mean they didn't hurt anybody, specifically. There's a linguistic difference there, so Watts' denial is weak. Other times, Watts mimics the emotions he's neglected to express.
These are your baby girls, and you have not shed one tear over them not being around. Chris, I lose my 4-year-old in the store for 10 seconds and I start to go panic. I have not seen any of that from you at all. Help me understand that.
I love those girls. I would never do anything just because I haven't shed a tear. You get
no, that's weird. Is that weird?
Don't look into that like I don't love my kids.
Tell me, explain to me.
Don't.
When the agents bring up something he hasn't shown them yet, in this case something as natural as emotions, he immediately tries to fake it, which unintentionally reveals that he's not emotional but cunning, concerned with how the agents perceive him, as opposed to being concerned about his missing family. Other times he exaggerates how much he misses his family.
My kids are my life. Those smiles light up my life. And this, last night, during when they usually eat dinner, it was just like I miss them. I miss telling them, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, and just you're not going to get your snack after. I miss that. I miss them, cuddle up on their couches. For nobody to be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on. And I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on. And know I wasn't going to kiss them to bed tonight. It was.
His family's only been gone for one night, yet he goes on and on about the things he misses, as someone who knows they aren't coming back. Watts can't express emotions naturally and believably. He knows which emotional and dramatic words to use, but can't find appropriate facial expressions to go with them.
And it was just a traumatic night. trying to be here. If just earth shattering, I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from. I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
Next, notice how Coda's lack of acknowledgement tokens makes Watts uncomfortable.
I know, like, you have to look at every vantage point. This is something I would never do to my kids or my wife at all. I'm not sure, like, what I could do to make people believe that, just because if they knew we were having marital discord, they would automatically look at me. But there's no, I would harm anybody in my family at all. I know we were having marital discord, and we had that conversation that morning, and then she goes, we have no idea where she is, or the kids.
In conversations, it's uncomfortable when the person we're speaking to doesn't acknowledge what we're saying. The effect of withholding acknowledgement tokens is that the speaker starts repeating himself and overemphasizing, all of which points to nervousness, which again could point to guilty knowledge, because if the speaker has nothing to hide, why is he nervous? The more unresponsive Coda is, the more Watts says, and the more Watts says, the greater the chance that he'll incriminate himself. Watts' nervousness is made clear by his self-repairs and pauses, as he's having difficulty completing simple utterances.
I know, like, you have to look at every vantage point.
Again, Watts says what he'd never do, not what he didn't do. And when Coda is being unresponsive, Watts overemphasizes with at all.
There's no, I would harm anybody in my family at all.
At all is an unnecessary add-on, unnecessary in the sense that it doesn't add any new and relevant meaning to what preceded it. In this case, Watts' unreliable denial, same as the word ever.
This is something that I would never do. Ever.
Such unnecessary, overly convincing linguistic elements are present when suspects are more preoccupied with how agents perceive them than their missing loved ones. It's ironic how statements that are meant to be persuasive are oftentimes the least persuasive of all.
I'm not sure, like, what I could do, like, to make people believe that.
The words "make people believe" are interesting, because that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to make Coda believe him, but he doesn't say, "I'm not sure what I could do to make you believe," which would be personal and direct. Instead, Watts indirectly addresses Coda by referring to people, just like he referred to a few friends previously.
I've talked to a few of my friends, like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, I know.
And no matter how unsurprising and trivial Watts tries to make the suspicion sound, people wouldn't automatically suspect him, not if he had a solid alibi. It's too late for Watts to act stoic, but apparently he can't read the room.
There's no, I would harm anybody in my family at all.
Like the word never, claiming there's no way he would harm anybody in his family isn't the same as saying that he didn't harm them. Again, there's a difference between general and specific language, and again, at all is overemphasis, Watts exaggerating his supposed innocence. Notably, he doesn't say who he wouldn't harm. No, he says anybody, which is distancing and unspecific, because specifically, it's not anybody who's missing, it's his wife and children. And he says it with exaggerated affective prosody, which is a way of manipulating one's voice to convey emotion, not because the speaker is actually emotional, but because the speaker wants to be perceived as being emotional.
Anybody in my family.
Very similar to the way Scott Peterson uses affective prosody.
It's necessary to speak its appropriate time to, in order to ask people to keep looking for Lacey, because they're not looking for Lacey as much as they should be right now. Lacey as much as they should be right now.
Anybody in my family.
But the Watts case didn't only leave its mark on the immediate family. It also changed the community of Frederick. A quiet town, filled with small-town charm, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The What's case became a global phenomenon, with news outlets and social media platforms buzzing with every new detail that emerged. For the residents of Frederick, the sense of safety they once took for granted was shattered. Law enforcement officials, too, found themselves dealing with the psychological aftershocks of the case. The What's case highlighted the fine line between what is visible and what is hidden. In a case that looked so perfect from the outside, how could something so horrific have been brewing in the background? It forced law enforcement agencies to re-examine how they investigate domestic violence, how they assess risk, and how they can prevent similar tragedies from happening again. The case became a touchstone for discussions on the dynamics of family relationships, revealing how financial pressure, emotional detachment, and infidelity can sometimes lead to the ultimate act of betrayal. The psychological impact extended beyond the people directly involved, reaching everyone who followed the case. Domestic violence, often thought of as a problem for other people, became a national conversation. For many, it was a wake-up call. The case made clear that the seemingly perfect family unit could be a facade hiding something far more dangerous. People began to ask themselves questions: what signs were missed? What can we do to prevent such tragedies from unfolding? And how do we address the systemic issues that allow individuals like Chris Watts to go undetected until it's too late? While Shanann's family has worked to build a legacy of hope and action, there is no escaping the fact that Chris's actions have left a permanent scar on society's understanding of family dynamics and domestic violence. The Watts case became a painful, but necessary, lesson about the dangers of complacency, the importance of intervention, and the complexity of human behavior. As discussions about the case continued, the media's attention didn't falter. Every new interview, every legal decision, and every expert opinion added another layer to the public's understanding of what happened. People have continued to debate whether Chris Watts should be considered a serial killer, whether his actions were premeditated or the result of a single, tragic lapse in judgment. The case remains in the public eye, an open wound that refuses to heal completely. The Watts case left a permanent stain on the collective psyche, and even as time passed, the questions surrounding it remained. As the documentary nears its conclusion, we revisit the central question that has loomed over the entire investigation: should Chris Watts be considered a serial killer? To answer that question, we must consider the full complexity of his actions. Chris's crime was not one of convenience, nor was it a rash act of violence. It was calculated, deliberate, and cold. While he may not fit the traditional mold of a serial killer, someone who targets multiple victims over a period of time, there are aspects of his behavior that are eerily similar. His ability to compartmentalize his life, to appear calm and collected while committing unspeakable acts, and to lie with such ease all point to a deeper psychological issue. Whether his actions can be classified as serial killing or not, one thing is certain: Chris Watts's crime was not the result of a momentary lapse in judgment. It was the outcome of months, even years, of personal struggles, emotional detachment, and a desire to escape the life he had built. Experts from various fields, including criminologists, psychologists, and legal professionals, offer their final insights into Chris's motivations. Some believe his actions were driven by a deep sense of dissatisfaction, a desire to start anew without the constraints of his family. Others suggest that his psychological profile indicates narcissistic tendencies, with a capacity for cruelty that allowed him to view his wife and children as obstacles to his happiness. The debate continues, with no clear consensus emerging about the true nature of his actions. But one thing is clear: Chris Watts is a man whose behavior defies easy categorization. As viewers, we are left to form our own conclusions. Was Chris Watts a serial killer, or was he simply a man who made an unforgivable choice in a moment of desperation? The case challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about human behavior, the dangers of unchecked emotional turmoil, and the hidden violence that can lie beneath even the most seemingly perfect facades. In closing, we reflect on the lasting impact of this case. While justice has been served, the emotional scars remain for Shanann's family and for the countless others who have been affected by the story. Domestic violence, psychological manipulation, and the darkness lurking behind closed doors have all been brought to the forefront, forcing society to re-examine its understanding of these issues. For the Rzusek family, the pain will never fully fade. Their story is one of profound loss, but also of resilience. Their efforts to honor Shannon and her daughter's memories will continue to inspire, reminding us that even in the face of unimaginable grief, there is hope for change and healing. As we close this chapter, we leave the final reflections to the viewer. The case of Chris Watts is not just a story about a man who murdered his family, it is a story about how we understand, address, and prevent violence within families. It's a story that raises more questions than answers, but also one that serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of the lives we hold dear.